I'm Clare Cooley. This is the Creativity Show. It's a very, very special day for me. It's my mother's birthday. So today's show is dedicated to her, as my memoir, Incandescence Rising Above Darkness, is dedicated to her, and named because she sent me this little note, just like my mother, to have used a piece of, I've got it protected in plastic. Let's open up the other camera and we'll be showing you. Great. So on a piece of paper bag, is that in the right place? Yes, but you are standing a little bit too far off to the side. That's all right. Dear sweet Clare, I love you and hope that you are doing just what you want to do for most of your days and nights. Did you know you have inner incandescence? So this little note is why the book is called Incandescence Rising Above Darkness. And we're going to show you her photograph from her classically trained, where is the note? Oh, I put her Massachusetts School of Fine Arts, the first place in this country you could get a fine art degree. She was consummately trained, educated, spent her childhood there. She is. Could you read yes, what was written about her?
Barbara Phelps, a woman apart who has always been and will be her own self magnificently. Without fanfare, Barb makes comment on the subject at hand, never failing to be worthwhile.
That's my mother. Humble and articulate, well-educated, but could speak at the level that anyone she was talking to would feel, would understand and feel that she was there with them. She ended up, like a lot of fine art trained people, working in a factory often with people from other countries who didn't speak the language so well, but she could carry on conversations with them, or astrophysicists, or anybody I ever introduced her to. She could talk at their level and they would feel heard. And she could learn from anybody and everybody, and did. So that's part of the reason she's my North Star, is that she never bragged about her education. She just used it to be an ever better person. And so it's quite a high mark that she set for me, but just hoping to get ever closer to it is enough for me. So that's what I want, is to learn from everyone I meet and get to interact with, whether it's virtual visits through these live streams or in person, and to hopefully help one way or another everyone that I cross paths with, whether it's just hearing them, being present, learning from whatever it is that their experience and expertise is in. We all, every one of us, has something very special to share with the world. And that's what the Creativity Show is all about, that our imagination, unique to us, our creative expressions, our aesthetic style, curiosity, is something, our stories, experiences, ruminated on and distilled into wisdom or knowledge, is something no one else but us can share. So that's what it's all about, is hoping to inspire you to share your expertise, your perspective with the world, make the world a richer, more inclusive place. Did I hear the bell?
You heard the ding. DB Catalyst on YouTube said, "Hi Claire, happy B-Day to your mother."
Thank you very much. I'm so happy you're here. And yes, happy B-Day to my mother, which means that I got a B-Day, which means Bodhi got a B-Day. I love being in the lineage of a fine artist mother, a fine human being who was an artist mother, and a fine son who's an artist. I love being in this lineage. And I love to say that, instead of the um, the folly, the narrow-sighted, nobody wants to see a woman in front of a camera after the age of 40. That's absurd. The longer we live, especially if we keep some lightness of being and our love and hope going, the more we have to say. So the more we should speak up, not the less. So I refuse to follow those silly, sexist, ageist rules of a broken world, rules of the broken world. Let's fix the world with our love and hope. Yes, I heard the bell.
So Joni B on YouTube said, "You look stunning today, and your mother is so very beautiful too. What a wonderful note she wrote to you. Happy birthday to your mom in the next life. Heart emoji."
Thank you, Joni. I love it when you're here. I feel connected, even though we have some miles between us. I feel you, and I feel connected to you even when I'm not doing a live stream. But we are all connected. But it is nice to have that exchange. And thank you for this outfit I did to celebrate my mother's birthday. It's I call this outfit 20 flowers because I painted 20. There's 18 different flowers. 2 of them are duplicated to fill out the skirt and top. But I did them. I guess there's 13 now up on my Patreon, which Bodhi will tell you about. This is the one that is just got on my Patreon.
Yeah, put it on the table. Show it on the table.
That's right. Is that in the right spot?
It is.
Great. Well, when we get into the stories that are going to be shared today, I'm going to paint that stencil design on a shirt, and then I'm going to do some on cards. So that's the latest, making 13 stencil designs on my Patreon. Go ahead and tell people about that, Bo.
Yeah, so you can go to patreon.com/Clare Cooley, and you can get her stencil designs. I'm showing one on the screen, the most recent one that she put out today. You can get all of them for free if you become a member, or you can just get them separately. And they are SVGs, scalable vector graphics that you can cut any size and use for all your stencil projects. And there's a bunch more on our Patreon, so go check it out. I'll put the QR code on the screen. It's clarecooley.com/ excuse me, it's patreon.com/ Cooley.
Great. So today, as I said at the last live stream, we're going to continue doing the audiobook, sharing stories from my memoir that I wrote because people asked me to, saying my stories help them and they'll help others, which is the greatest of all compliments, to turn our adversity into our advantage by turning it into art that can help others. I heard the bell.
Yes, on YouTube, the Lone 91 said, "Creativity definitely runs in your family."
Thank you very, very much. And yes, I'm very grateful that I had a mother who encouraged me to follow my own self-taught way, even though she was consummately trained. And I've encouraged my son to follow his own way. And we're all creative, and it runs in through everyone. But I was fortunate to have a mother who supported it and understood that doing what gives us purpose, sometimes, we have to put it, in my opinion, first. Pay the bills, sure. I've done lots of jobs in my life to do so, and I finally can afford to put all my energy into my creative expressions. But that took a number of years, but I never stopped doing my art because it's what gives me joy and purpose. Did I hear the bell, the Tibetan bell again?
Michael B said, was just thinking another way to use your stencils would be on a cake and use powdered sugar to fill in the spaces. So not just clothes, a new way to use your stencils.
What a delicious idea that is. Thank you. I never thought of that. Um, of all my art forms, that I've done, that those who have been watching this or know me or been to any of my shows know, it's clothes, it's jewelry, it's home decor, art, framing, furniture design, dishes, paintings, drawings, etchings. I've never really gotten into cooking as an artistic expression, but I have to admit that idea really intrigues me. And if I live long enough, I'll get into the art of cooking and eating. Meanwhile, I've been very, very practical about food. Make it quickly, eat healthy, bottom of the food chain food, and that's about it. I have yet to bake a cake in my life. I haven't done that yet. I've made one pie, but Bodhi had to make it first and show me how to make a sweet potato pie. I see some more comments.
Yeah, Sumner said, thank you for honoring your beautiful mother, an inspiration to us all. And Kathy Cato said, your mother would be so proud. Thank you for your gifts of beauty.
Thank you, Sumner. Thank you, Kathy. I'm touched, and I do feel like my mother flows through me. She's been out of this life, out of her body for many years, but I sprinkled her ashes in the San Francisco Bay, and I feel like anytime it rains or snows or I'm by a creek or by the lake, she's there. I feel her all the time, and love knows no bounds. When we love, it just keeps going, and that is my spiritual belief system. Is that's what perhaps my who knows, but before the Big Bang, perhaps it was love that allowed this condensed particle to become so energetic that it exploded, and then a vibration went through that primordial dust and things coalesced into form, and then there became planets and stars and solar systems, and then life, because what does love want but to give and receive and be known? So that's my spiritual belief system, is that it was love before the Big Bang, and it's love that will continue and connects us all to everything in the universe, including each other. So that went pretty esoteric there, didn't it? All right. So let us show on this beautiful snowy spring day, can we show in celebration of my mother, besides making this 20 flower outfit to wear on her birthday, I also did what I call the Feathers and Flowers Spring Tree. Are you ready to show that?
Sure, you want to show the spring tree?
Yes, so this is our spring tree that is the all seasons, every reason tree. I like to keep up all year long and just change it for the season. I had it on Valentine's Day, every kind of love. Now it's the Feathers and Flowers spring tree, and I'm putting my stencil designed cards the front is the white cards with the gold, as you can see, like this one that I showed you earlier. And the back of the tree is the antique looking cards in honor of the history of this 120-year-old home that I did with the stencils. And then I washed some light gold over them so they look a little antique. So another eccentric expression of creativity is that the front of the tree and the back of the tree are always slightly different, and that you know, we get to decide how to express our creativity. And I love the idea that creativity is play. So I play with stuff and I rearrange stuff and I try different ideas, and I'm not trying to compete with anyone else or get even other people's approval. I'm just enjoying the process of creating. So that is what I hope to inspire and inform others, that the more we play, the more we give ourselves permission to explore our curiosity, the more creative we can become. And creativity, writing can be free therapy, and expressing emotions stimulates our immune system. It's healing, and we can enhance our lives with our creativity no matter what we have, what resources. And we can solve problems in our own lives, our community, and in the world by having creative ideas and exploring them and collaborating with others. So it's all good. Creativity is, it's a joyous, serene place that I like to say imagination is our superpower. We can imagine the life we want, and we can take steps toward it every day. And that is a superpower. So let us show these flowers being put on cards or the skirt, and then we will get into the stories. While you're seeing this, these being put onto cards, I will say that in case there's anyone that it would be inappropriate, the 3 stories that are short stories from my book that will be shared, the audio version today while I'm working, trigger warning. The first one is about being raped, and so it's obviously not light. And the reason I always share the 3 stories, the next 2, is because it's how I process that to end up someplace that was healing and hopeful. So I never suggest people read the first story or hear the first story without hearing the next 2. So the 3 of them together are about 20 minutes, I think. So we'll listen to those while I'm working in front of the camera. And do know that if there's children or anyone that might be triggered by a story about sexual molestation, the first story contains it. And there's also a mention of considering suicide. So those are trigger warnings. So I want you to know that. But the reason I wrote my stories, my short stories, a collection of my life, is because I have figured out how to heal. And so Rising Above Darkness is the title of the book for a reason. So when that's 40 more seconds for the cards, and then I'm going to set up to do the painting in front of the camera while you get the stories queued up. All right. So the skirt.
All right, skirt next.
And so this is another couple minutes, and I'm going to get ready to paint while you're watching the skirt.
All right, your audio and the skirt.
We can get through this couple minutes of the skirt, and then we will move on to live painting and the audio stories, pre-recorded audio stories. And I admit, a little bit nervous about hearing this story. It's been a long time since I wrote it and read it, but I have a policy of not sharing what I have not healed. There are things I'm still healing. That's life as a human being. And I don't share them publicly until I have healed them. So I'm not anticipating it being difficult, but it might touch my heart, and there might be some feelings to be released, and I will let myself do that if they come naturally, because that's, I believe tears clear our vision, they clear our heart, and as my son can tell you, I have tears just about every day, but most of the time they're tears of joy. I have spent my life trying always to accept my own feelings and let them flow. I do try to go quickly through the unpleasant feelings and luxuriate in the pleasant feelings, but I try not to ever stuff them, ignore them, pretend they're not there, even when they're difficult feelings. I believe our feelings are our teachers, they're our guides, they're, as I've said many times, because this is so important, and we're in a feeling adverse society often, and we're told not to feel, and you feel too much, and you're too sensitive, and don't cry, and all of those are broken world messages. The truth is, releasing any feeling stimulates our immune system. So, you know, I know that they're good for me, they're good for you, they're good for everybody to actually feel our feelings. And there are appropriate places to share them. Yes.
Right. Got a little behind here. So we got Abby Bowman on YouTube. You are so brave and strong and truly an inspiration to everyone you cross paths with.
Thank you. What a kind thing to say. Thank you very, very much. And my mother used to always say that I was the strong one, and it's taken me a life, 71 years to even start to understand what that means. And I feel so normal. I feel so ordinary. I feel so human. And I feel insecure and doubt and all the things, hurt and fear, all the things that people feel. But maybe what she meant was, and other people say it about my strength, is that I accept those things so I can go quickly through them and get back to feeling grounded and centered. And that is strength. The balance, the dark and light, the difficult and the easy. So if I get anxious, I try to breathe in ease and exhale dis-ease, and breathe in peace and exhale fear. So perhaps that is strength, just doing that. All righty, are we ready to start the audiobook?
Yes. Let me you got a few comments. MMM on YouTube said, "Love your home and art. Great work. Your story and art is very admirable."
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. I want to say one thing before we get into the stories. For me, there's being real and authentic and accepting our feelings and what's happened in life to heal ourselves. And then there's offering it to the world, to an individual or to a community or to the world through a book, as I've done, that turns even the hardest stuff into something that can help others, which helps us. There's no greater satisfaction and purpose in life than to turn the most painful and difficult stuff we've been through into something that we can heal and help others with, and that allows us to have no regrets even about the tough stuff, which these stories are about. So let's hear them.
It might pick up in the previous chapter, the very end of the chapter. That's chapter 13, Crazy Carrot. We'll see. And then it's going to go on to chapter 14. So, and I will mute Claire's microphone while the audiobook is playing. And we'll do you want to take a break between chapters, or how would you like to do that?
Let's just go for them.
Okay.
And we talked of many things, but not ever again about carrots or being crazy. Story number 14, When the Goddess Looked Away. Everything is normal. My father is passed out drunk. My mother is at the factory working. My older sister is looking for drugs. My brother is in his room reading. My younger sister is pretending everything is fine. I'm laying on the living room floor looking at an oceanic picture book, transported by the strange beauty of creatures that live deep in the sea. Whenever I cannot be in nature, I imagine myself someplace natural, where everything is dignified, even death. Dwelling in these realms, I do not feel lonely. Dreaming of cranes, waterfalls, sunsets, space, and the sea, I am free and happy. As I look at photographs of creatures living in the lightless depths, I am fascinated by their unusual elegance. To me, everything in nature is beautiful. I see loveliness even in the ones who frighten me, like the fish with a single light at the end of a long bobbing spine protruding from its head. A light not meant to illuminate its way through the dark, but to lure in prey. A knock at the door shatters my deep water trance. My connection to these ancient ones evaporates as I open the door to one of my father's barroom buddies. His baby face does not fit atop his massive construction worker's frame. He looks uncomfortable and unnatural, like a child trapped in a man's body. I feel compassion for him. He asks for my father while fidgeting with his buttons. My hand twitches, wanting to close the door, but my mind says, let him in. He can wake my father from his intoxicated slumber before my mother comes home and discovers him there. I do not want my mother to find her ex-husband there 2 years after their divorce. Reluctantly, I open the door without speaking and go back to my book on the floor. He does not wake my father, but lies on the floor next to me. I squirm sideways across the synthetic carpet, burning my knees to get further from him. He wraps his vice-grip hand around my tiny twig arm. His huge body turns my little body over effortlessly. In the next instant, he is lying on top of me. I can't breathe as I feel the pressure of his oversized body crushing my small frame like being pushed to the bottom of the sea. Every muscle in my body strains, but I cannot move in any direction. I feel panic for the first time in my life. In one of his massive hands, he puts both my wrists over my head and reaches down with his other hand, moving my shorts and underwear out of the way. I feel my ribs will snap as he puts all his weight on my chest. I want to disappear, die, or just cease to exist. I scream silently as he wedges his thick legs between mine. I did not know why, but I knew I should not wake my father. Many years later, I came to understand why. I knew he was not safe. My spirit left my body I could not bear to be in anymore. It was not the physical pain I could not bear, it was the humiliation. I had not kissed or held hands with a boy. I did not go to school, watch television, read, see movies, or have conversations. Though I had never been spanked or forced to do anything before this, and I had no word for what was happening to me, I understood it was wrong, very, very wrong. Looking down from above, my spirit spoke to my empty shell body. He can only hurt your body. He cannot touch you where you really live. Your sacredness is out of his reach. He wants your goodness, but he cannot take it. No matter what happens, do not give your goodness away. Promise you will never give your goodness away. He tried to force himself into my tiny body with a couple of thrusts and then collapsed. I focused all my attention on making the silent promise. I will not let him take my goodness. When I snapped back into my body, I felt a wet heat between my legs. Tears burst from my eyes. He pulled back, looking at me as if waking from a nightmare. Horror twisted his baby face into a hideous shape. He jumped up and ran out, leaving the front door wide open. I went to the empty bedroom and hid behind a pile of dirty clothes in the lightless corner of the closet. Without uttering a sound, I wept tears from the center of my being, from the core of the earth itself. For the first time in my life, I could not bear to be alive. I wanted to leave it all behind. It was not the horror of what the baby-faced monster did to me I could not bear. It was living in a world without protection. I did not want to be in a world where no one was safe. I did not want to live in a world without beauty and grace, a world where people could take something not offered to them. Understanding there was a world I never imagined existed, a world of betrayal, was more than I wanted to bear. Minutes later, I heard my father closing the wide-open front door behind him. I went to the shower and tried to wash off the feeling of filth, but I could not. I knew soon my mother would be home from work exhausted, and for her I had to bear the unbearable secret and withhold all that had happened while she was away. I feared if I told her, she might kill my father or his barroom buddy, and she might go to jail, or she would be too sad to bear it. So I thought I had to keep the terrible secret to protect her. I wept in the shower until it ran cold, pleading, "Tell me, someone watches over me. Please tell me what just happened was only in an instant when the goddess looked away."
All right. I feel really good about sharing such a difficult time in my life and feeling at peace, because everybody goes through difficulties, and I want to let others know that we can go through difficulties and we can come out the other side. And as a little 8-year-old girl told me, she was hiding in this house, a guest house of her mother's, and she was hiding, so I didn't know she was there when I was reading this story to my stepsister. And after I read it, she came out, and I was rather horrified that this 8-year-old girl had heard it, but she didn't seem upset at all. And she, in fact, asked her mother to invite me to dinner. And then after dinner, she asked me if I would like to go on a tour of their house. And when we got to her bedroom, we climbed up onto her tall bed, and she told me of her molestation that she hadn't told anyone else about. And I said to her, well, what we go through that doesn't break us makes us stronger. And she said to me, I just knew you were the one to tell. You want to see my closet, my clothes? And we went straight from her sharing her confusing and upsetting molestation story for the first time in her life, within seconds, to, I got chills as I'm saying this, to seeing her cute clothes, her cute closet. And that's how effortless it can be to help one another by being real. And so that's why I do it. And I feel really good about that. So let's move on to the next story, which is also difficult to hear, but it is important to share what we go through to help each other get through. All right?
Great. MMM on YouTube said, thank you for sharing your story and your truth.
Thank you. Our truth is what we have to share. And I know it's another one of the broken world rules that we're not supposed to speak about ourselves. We're not supposed to share truth. But I believe that sharing our truth is a power we have, we can access, and it's a way we can help others share theirs. And I have long said what I think needs to be said, not what I think people want to hear. And there are people that don't like me because of it. And I am okay with that. I'm very glad that there are those that appreciate it, trust me, but I'm okay not getting everyone's approval, and we should be free to tell our truth. And the more we speak of the things that happen, the more we gain power over them instead of it having power over us. And to be ashamed of being a victim is another broken world rule. We're supposed to be ashamed of it. And trust me, I have heard terrible things. It wouldn't have happened if it was me. I forgive you for being raped. You were looking for the dangerous excitement of the adrenaline rush. I've heard terrible things from people I thought cared about me, but that's their confusion, not mine. And the more we speak of it, the more the world can face these things happen and heal itself, not just individuals, but societies in the world. Yes, is there another?
Abby Bowman, you are a safe space and people around you can sense that about you.
Thank you very, very much. That's a very, very high compliment. That's what my mother was. It's what she showed me. It's what I want to offer others. I think it's how does it get better than being a safe place for one another to be true to ourselves and give our authentic beauty to the world. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, and I am going to come out and change a battery on the overhead camera. So we're going to zoom in on the art for a bit, and I'll be fixing that while you're doing the next piece of art.
I'll wait till you come out and you're starting the next story.
Yes.
Story number 15, Bridge to the Other Side. I walked whenever despair came over me. While walking, I never decided beforehand which way to go, which made me feel safer. Bad men could not predict my movements if I stayed spontaneous, I thought. Free-flowing became a way of life, my way to survive. Choosing direction by following the scent of jasmine, a warm breeze. Letting a root growing under the sidewalk cause one shoulder to dip and my body to lean, discovering paths. My daily journey strengthened my connection to intuition and instincts. Often, I would end up at the same freeway overpass. Walking to the center of the bridge, I would stop and look down. My mind would fill with a sense of relief with the thought of letting go. I would imagine myself falling through space. It was intoxicating, envisioning myself as a small bird drifting on warm currents or a leaf suspended on a gentle breeze. I was happy in those weightless moments, free from gravity, free from harm, free from all earthly concerns. Walking to the center of the bridge, I would stop and stare down. The car lights were like phosphorescent fish swimming in schools, shimmering luminescence soothing me. The little car schools of fish scurried away from the big truck sharks. I would see myself leaping over the edge of suffering, over the edge of surrender, over the edge of uncertainty, over the edge of life. I would drift down, losing all heaviness, separation, and desire. Drifting down, I would join the freeway sea and become part of something again. Grace had always surrounded me before this time. Simple things had delighted me. My world had been one where I could find beauty everywhere. Now I could not find natural beauty anywhere. Everything was artificial, without purpose. My longing for death wasn't because of carrying the baby-faced monster's child within me. It wasn't knowing I would never hold this child. It was not this making me desire death. It was the shame of being human making me want to let go. Shame for being born among those who hurt others for pleasure is what made me want to leave everything behind and enter the unknown, the void, and become part of the mystery again. One cool afternoon, I stood on the freeway overpass for so long the sky got completely dark. Watching the schools of freeway fish, I lost all sense of myself. I could not feel my hands on the cold steel rail. The endless stream of traffic made me dizzy. It would be so easy to cross the bridge to the other side. Letting go would be so effortless. Not letting go took all my strength. I was so tired of hanging on, and at that moment, I could not think of any reason to. Maybe I would come back as something I could respect, not a human, a crane perhaps. Or I could just turn into light and no one could ever hurt me again. Then the meaning of my name came into my mind, clear bright light, and my trance of despair broke as I thought about my mother giving me my name. Then I thought, how will she go on without me? What about the innocent and unborn child in my womb who deserves only love? Thinking of others gave me gravity again. The night air on my face felt good. Breathing deep into my lungs, my hands let go of the cold metal railing. In the midst of tremendous pain, I considered others. My blood surged with warmth as I turned away from despair, toward love as I walked across the bridge to the other side.
You're unmuted.
Yes, this story, I also feel really good that I've shared, and that hopefully others who have gone through things that got them to doubt that they wanted to go on with the pain that can come with a life. Hopefully this story can help others get through their moments of darkness. And that's why I share it. And this next story may be one of the most important stories of my life. So I hope that it, I have to admit, I've never wanted to be, rich, famous. I do want to help as many people as possible. And is that my ego? Is that my heart? I don't know, but it's true. And I don't mind admitting it. So if you know people that these stories could help, these are free ways to hear them. They don't even have to order the book, the ebook or the print or color versions, the color or black and white print versions. These audio versions, stories are going to come out one after another on my live streams. So there's a free way for people to hear these stories, and that makes me very happy. And then the audiobook will come out for people that want the whole collection later. All right, let's, is there anything you want to say before we hear this last story?
Yeah, we'll catch up on the comments. Abby said on YouTube, you are a safe space and people around you can sense that about you.
Thank you very much, Abby. It's the kind of world I want to live in, which is why I am the way I am, because all we can do to make the world more what we want it to be is be the way we want the world to be, the way we want other people to be. So honest, kind, and awake is how I want to be, how I want the world to be, and that's the only way I can affect it becoming more like that. So thank you, Abby.
Yeah, and where are we? Okay.
You said,
and then, Lisa said, thank you.
you're very, very welcome. It's my honor and privilege to tell my truth, like it's your honor and your privilege to tell your truth. We all have things to share that no one else can share but us. So I hope you will share your truth with others, your perspective, your wisdom, your knowledge, even your struggles can help others. We're all in this together. We're all connected. So shall we hear the last
there's
story?
3 more, Mom.
Oh,
Moving MMM on YouTube. Yes, thank you, Claire. Very powerful words. And then the Lone said, just order your book. Thanks for the caring words.
you're welcome. Thank you.
And then Joni on YouTube said, thank you for sharing. Very powerful and real.
Thank you very, very much, all of you. I really appreciate hearing from you, and it makes my heart happy. And it's wonderful to have no regrets, even hearing such real stuff that I've been through. I don't regret any of it because it's made me stronger and given me a way to help others. So there you go. Yeah, turning adversity into our advantage through art. That's the thing I'm trying to do. Okay, let's go for the last story.
Story number 16. Forgiveness is the best revenge. My childhood ended the evening the baby-faced monster came through the door. I became a 2,000-year-old woman in a 16-year-old body. Though I did not have a word for what happened to me, I knew it wasn't right. Immediately, I felt life reach its kindling point within me. I was carrying a stranger's child forced into me. It was clear I could not keep either of us safe. I understood I would not get to see my child sleep, learn to walk, catch a ball, or ride a bike. Nor would my child get to know his mother's face, voice, or scent. For his safety, I had to let adults raise him. I hurt too much to cry. I feared there would be no end to the tears. I believed I had to contain the pain to be brave enough to do what I had to for my baby. A few days after my baby was born, he was adopted by a couple who could protect him. I walked across town to a dark bar where my father drank. He was lonely, and I felt sorry for him. Whenever I went to see him, he would stop drinking for a while. It made me feel better to help someone else. And I loved him even though I didn't trust him. He was my father, and I wanted to help. He would leave the Red Lion bar when I came to see him, knowing I hated everything about it, the smell of beer, cigarettes, sweaty men, cheap perfume, rancid oil on the popcorn, the noise of the TV, the jukebox, the pinball machine, and everyone talking at once while no one was listening. Nothing was lovely or natural there. No windows, only artificial light. Most days I waited outside the musty bar. This particular day, I was waiting inside so my father would not order another beer before he finished his pool game. I did not ever speak or look into anyone's eyes in the bar. I did not turn around to see who sat behind me. I heard a voice say, "Why didn't you tell me? I would have married you." Until then, I had partly blamed myself for what happened, saying things to myself like, I should not have said hello the night he was at the Mexican bar when I picked up my father. I shouldn't have opened the door. I shouldn't have thought I was safe just because my father was there. I shouldn't have worn shorts. I shouldn't have gone back to my book on the living room floor. I should have screamed even though I couldn't. I should have hit him even though I couldn't. Or I should have known something I never knew existed was about to happen to me. But now, hearing the baby-faced monster's voice again, I did not blame myself anymore. Instead, I was filled with disgust. I wanted to be outraged. I wished I wanted to hurt him, to pick up the bar stool and hit him over the head, or grab my father's pool cue and run it through his heart, or take the tequila bottle and break it on his nose, or scream at the top of my lungs. You raped me and left the state that night. You got married within a week and returned after I endured arranging for my child to be adopted, and now you act like we had an affair? I wished I wanted to hurt him as he hurt me, but I could not feel anything but pity for him. All this flashed through my mind in an instant. I should want revenge. I should want him to suffer. I should yell loud enough for everyone to hear. You are just what every young lady dreams of for a husband, a rapist. Who is this charade for? My father or your guilty conscience? We did not have an affair. You forced yourself on me and left me You forced yourself on me and left a child within me that could not be raised by his mother. I wished I wanted to humiliate him, but if I let myself be filled with hate, I would be like him. So I got up and walked out without looking back. As soon as I was outside, I started to run in the opposite direction of home so no one could predict my path. I hid behind some industrial buildings for a while before I began walking a meandering route down strange little streets. Whenever a car came turning onto the block, I disappeared behind bushes until it was gone. On a tiny street where no one seemed to be home, I stopped and sat under a ginkgo tree. The tiny fan leaves sprinkled on the ground were so lovely that their grace made me cry. The first tears came softly, and then they flowed like a wild mountain river in the spring thaw, rushing out of my eyes, over my cheeks, across the lawn, and the yellow flowers growing up through the cracks in the sidewalk. A river of tears poured off my mountain of silence until my eyes were so clean I could see clearly. I could see he could rape me, but he could not take my dignity. I could see he could take my childhood, but he could not take my innocence. I could see my innocence was not lost, just hidden. I had buried it deep in my own heart, like people burying the family jewels as the enemy approaches. I started digging frantically inside of myself, leaving holes everywhere looking for it. Still, I could not find the brilliant gems of innocence. My internal struggle was trying to understand what had happened to me and why it had destroyed the landmarks to guide me back. I cried and whispered, "Please help me find my innocence." I heard a tender voice surface from my own depths saying, "The map is in your heart." I looked in my heart and found directions. Go over the mountains of hurt, cross over the rivers of rage, pass through the forests of fear, and you will find your innocence there. But how will I find my way? By staying on the path. What is the path? The path is forgiveness. How can I forgive a man who raped me, who ended my childhood in one selfish, cruel moment? He tried to steal your innocence because he could not find his own after someone tried to steal it from him. Then a vision of him as a 4-year-old child came into my mind. I saw my father was once innocent, open and trusting. My older sister and everyone who had ever hurt me were lost on the way back to their own innocence. I could see back to the beginning of innocence, back to the beginning of fear, the beginning of pain itself. I understood in an instant that the pain people force on others was once forced on them. Some step off the pain path and find peace, while others do not. I felt compassion for all of those who could not see what I could see. Forgiveness is the only way to end suffering. Forgiveness is the only way to eradicate all the anger and hurt and the fear underneath it. Forgiveness is the only way to eradicate all the anger and hurt and the fear underneath it all from my heart. Forgiveness is the only way they can never hurt me again. Forgiveness is the way to reclaim all of my heart for love. I picked up a ginkgo leaf and closed my eyes. Waving the tiny fan next to my cheek, I felt the slightest breeze drying my tears, and the world was sweet again as I realized forgiveness is the best revenge.
Now, your mic is on.
Okay. Wow. Well, now you can understand why I like all 3 stories to be read or experienced instead of just the first or the first and the second. And it's interesting to me to hear it, this long after I wrote it, and to have taken the big break from it that I've taken, it's the one of the three that it was hardest to hold back tears, and they're tears of joy, because I did figure out, I was led, guided, figured out, I don't know how to describe it, a way to let go of all that pain. And that gives me such joy and appreciation. And so thank you for hearing me, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate all the comments. It fills my heart with joy. And I feel really good about being able, with the guides I've had in life, to find love even through such adversity. And we all can, and we can help each other do that. And boy, does the world need it. So let us find what we have in common instead of our differences, and let us dwell on that. And that is, we all want to be loved and love. Yes, I heard the bell.
Yeah, DB on YouTube said, "Wonderful work. Your writing and paintings make the world a more beautiful place."
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a kind thing to say, and I really do appreciate it. And thank you, Bodhi, for all your technical help. And forgive us for that last story, had some imperfections in the audio recording that I heard, but we'll get those things worked out before we put the audiobook out. But meanwhile, really appreciate you being here, comments, likes, subscriptions, all of that. And the Patreon free members, or the membership members, who get all the stencil designs for no additional cost. Appreciate all of it. And telling friends really helps our grassroots growing, which restores my hope in humanity, that we can help each other and get through the darkness in the world and fix the things that are broken in the world. Yes.
Joni said on YouTube, "Extremely important message. Sending love to you."
Thank you, Joni. Love back to you. Love to all of you. There you go. Thanks for being here, and see you.
Michael B said, "Thank you for sharing."
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Michael, for getting the book for your mother. What a wonderful affirmation that is. And I really, really appreciate it's more than I can express in words how much gratitude I have for people sharing what has turned my adversity into advantage by turning it into art that helps others. So thank you, and see you Monday at noon. I'm going to keep these live streams going because it gives me joy, and I want to share it with you. So meanwhile, stay creative. Bye-bye.